Okay, what PHP is going to do to extract data from a database is really three things. The first thing is it will connect to the database. We will tell PHP which database to connect to. See, I've got so many. We'll tell them which database has to be connected to. In my case, it will be Tasty. Then we have to generate a query. The query will say which table it should go to and what data it should get. Now, some of you might remember this. Select star from menu. Some of you might remember this. It gets my entire data. In my case, I've got burgers and rolls as well. So I can say select star from menu where food underscore type equals roll. Now, in your case, this will be different because your table name will be different, your column name will be different. Maybe you have got a different table for different products. I got just one. So the query will be different for each one of you. Before you put it in PHP, you must test it here. So this is working. See, I got all three roles. Good. And I think I had only three roles. I can check. So this is one query which I am going to use. I'm just going to keep it aside on a sticky note. I'll just put it aside on one of these notes. This one. Okay. So that's my first query. My second query is in my web page I have got something called specials. So I want some specials to appear on the right side. And in my specials column you can see I've got a flag 1. If I flag it as 1, I want it to appear. I mean, I can call it special, I can call it yes, I can call it n, I can call it anything. But the structure will be select star from menu where food type is equal to role and special equals 1. Okay, so now I get only one result because only one role is on special. I need this to appear on the right hand side of my page. My specials are going to appear on the right hand side or maybe the top, wherever the specials are appearing. So I'm saving this second query. Okay. So these are the two queries I need. Now I'm going to go to my PHP file. So I'm just going to open up my PHP file, open. My PHP file is in my htdocs, tasty burger, PHP tasty burger. Now I've done the burgers page, but I will do the roles page. And I'll show you how it works. Okay, so unless your query works in PHPMyAdmin, no data will come out. It has to give you a list. It has to give you a list right there within PHP. So let's see. Okay, I'm on the roles page. You can see role list here and special here. So let's go. You see this role list is where my roles are going to come. Now there are two things I need to do first. I need to first make a connection to the database, and I'll show you what I've got here and we'll use it. I first need to make a connection to the database. For that I need to write PHP. PHP is written inside PHP tags, question mark PHP, and then question mark end bracket. So those are my PHP tags. Now there are three or maybe more different syntaxes for PHP. So you have MySQL commands, you have MySQLi commands, and then you have the PDO, which are more object oriented. Whenever you look up for references, make sure that you know what you are using. So in this case, the connection is MySQLi. It's more compact, but there is MySQL connections, there is MySQLi connections. Try to understand this. This is a variable. This is the same as, in JavaScript we used to say variable console. Okay. In PHP we say $console because that becomes a variable. So the $sign says this is a variable. This variable is going to hold the connection, all the connection information. This is the function. So MySQLi connect is a function. So that's a function there. You see that? That's a function. Inside the function expects certain parameters. What does it expect? It expects the server name. So when you are hosting externally, it could be dilipk.com or ftp.dilipk.com, I don't know. Wherever you host, you'll get a server name. This is the username. When you host a database on a server, you're forced to have a username and password for security reasons. Now, to make things easier on my server, I don't have for this database, I'm just using the default root and empty password, and this is the name of the database. So I've got these comments here, and I'm going to put the comments as well. So I've got the comments for you. It took me less than 5 minutes to make the burger one. So there. Okay, so make a connection: server name, username, password, database name. That's the connection. This is an error. If MySQLi connect error, so if $console actually, if you feed it to error and you get an error, there is something in it. If there is something in the error box, then you just give an error. So let's put that. That's a standard. If $con, when it's fed into the function MySQLi connect error, if something is in it, just echo, yep, there's a problem.
Is that meant to spell error? Or is it?
It's error no.
Is echo the kind of like the prompt?
Echo is your alert or document.write. Yeah. Echo will just write it on the page. This dot is the plus sign. This is equivalent to the plus sign. Okay. Or I can just put it in 2 lines. You know the plus sign in JavaScript, the concatenation in PHP is a dot. I can just I can say semicolon here, and I can say echo MySQLi error. I can echo 2 lines. Okay. So this is just generate error messages. Check connection and alert errors. Okay. So we have connected and we are just checking if the connection is all right. That's it. After the connection, we have to make a query and we have to extract the query. Now try to understand how this happens. Wherever I need the role, okay. So my roles are here, role list here, okay. Here I'm going to start some PHP, question mark PHP, question mark, I end it. I always do that, I always end it because I don't want to forget. The first thing I do is I actually set up a variable with my query, and I'm just going to take the comment from here. I need my query, and the query has to go in a variable. You can see always in a variable, always it goes in a variable, generally called $SQL, but no such rule. My query, what's my query? And I just copied a query which ran successfully. Select from menu where food type equal to role. This query I know that this query I'll use a double and single quote. So I'll just use a double quote here, and single quotes inside. So my query is select everything from menu where food type is role. That's my query. Now you might remember that when we did JavaScript to extract XML data, we ran a for loop. This time we are just going to run a while loop, and the while loop will check if there is a record there or not. Now see the way it is run. We take the query, we run it, and we put it in result. This query now, I need to get a this query is fed into a function called MySQLi query. What does this function do? It has two parameters. First parameter is it will make a connection. You cannot run a query without making a connection to the database. The first thing is it will make a connection to the database. The second thing is it will run the query. And if there is an error, it will die. It will just stop, crash out. Okay. If you don't have this, no problem. You won't see the error. But it's a standard thing to say or die MySQLi error. So if there's an error in the connection, it will just die out.
So the SQL you put in the connection where the query is.
MySQL.
The top one there.
Okay, yeah. Dollar connection is here. This is my connection to the database. It has all the information needed to talk to the server. This one has got all the information to talk to the database and say I want this query. And then we are saying MySQLi query. MySQLi query is a more compact version, the newer version, that says, hey, take that connection information, take my query, and ask the database, connect to the database and get this query. Otherwise, just crash out and give an error. Okay. Now, what happens here is you get an associative array. Now, I'll just tell you the next line. Now, dollar result is a variable, right? When you use another function in SQLi called fetch array now array is you have got a list of data. Like even in JavaScript we saw arrays, student 0, student 1, student 2, student 3. But here you have something known as an associative array. What does an associative array mean? It means the result that comes out, it gets associated with certain names. Can you see once I get my result? See the result, when I pass it through this function, I'm putting it in a variable called $row. But $row is not just one variable, it's a whole array of variables, isn't it? I've got food types, I've got specials, I've got description, I've got it for several types. How do I know which one? It gets associated in this way. Can I have your attention on this thing called $row name? What MySQLi fetch array does is it associates each row of data. So $row is just a variable. You can call it $delete. But every time it goes and pulls out a row of data from this, the first element becomes $row menu ID, $row pick, $row name, $row description, $row price, $row special. You get it? And then the next time the loop runs, what this fetch array does is, fetch array, it starts at this point, okay. When this is done, in the next loop, fetch array automatically keeps the pointer here and then fetches the, it fetches the next one, and then in the third loop fetch array will go here. So fetch array automatically sets the pointer to the next one. Now when it comes to the last one, okay, fetch array is here. After this, after the last one, there is no record, right? So in this while loop, there is no record. So that means the while loop will be false. So while there is something in it, it will do that. While there is something in this bracket, all of these commands will be done. But if there is nothing in this bracket, the loop is over. In the for loop, we specified that check for the length and stop until, and keep on going until you have that number, whatever the length is. Here we are saying as long as there is something in that record, while this is true, this bracket evaluates to true. So if there is nothing in the bracket, it will evaluate to false. So that's the whole thing here. While $row equal to MySQLi fetch array result, that means fetch, use this function to fetch whatever this query has generated. So you have sent, you've got a query, you've got a connection, you are saying run it, put it in result, use fetch array to get the individual records from the result, and as long as there is something in this, as long as there is something in this, keep writing out things. What are we going to write out? So this is going to be common for all of you. You will have your own table name. You may have a condition name if you have one database. If you have separate databases, you may not have a condition name. But your queries and all of this will be similar. So you can use, if you are using my variables, you'll have a similar kind of structure. Now while this is happening, what do I need first? I need echo. I need to print out something. Okay, I need to print out something. How do we print out an image? Image source equals images slash, now let me call it delete.jpg just for example. Okay, that's how we would do it, right? That's how we would get an image. Now there is no delete.jpg, but there is, now I can put my curly brackets. Instead of using a dot and concatenation, I can just use a curly bracket and I can say row, and what was the field name for my image? Pick. So row pick, and that should give me my images at least. And you can see same thing here, images source equal to images, and I've got curly brackets. If I don't put curly brackets, I can put a dot sign instead of a plus. But this is easier. You know how the plus was getting confusing in JavaScript? Here, wherever you need a variable, put the variable name and just put curly brackets around it. So let me see if just this line works. If this line works, I'll put all the other data. CPI pick, thank you. So let me save this. Let me go here, say localhost sites should have tasty burger, PHP tasty burger, and my burgers page, you can see I've got my burgers and my specials on the right. Let me see the roles. You have an error in your SQL syntax. Check syntax where food type equal to role at line 1. Okay, good, that's good. Select star from okay, menu. I'll just keep menu without. Yep. So I've got some dashes there, which means the pictures are not there. Is it images row pick? So I'm getting 3 pictures there, but I need to see what it's actually given me. View, what has it given me? It has given me logo underscore tasty.png, role1.jpg and 1.png. Is that what I have? Logo tasty role 1 and 1. Okay, let's go and see. I just have to make sure my database and my data are actually similar and consistent. So I'm going to go to XML, PHP, Tasty Burger, PHP Tasty Burger, images. I got role 1, role 2, role 3. Okay, I don't know from where that came. So I need to go and change. Oh, I got role 1, role 2, role 3. Okay, so I have this is working right, and I'll just go here and say echo. I'm just gonna echo out this variable and see how it goes. Line 61. Go. Got a row pick. Is that the problem? Row pick. Yeah, okay. So that's working. Now, okay, this one is not working. Okay, $row pick. If I put it this way, should work. So roll 1, roll 2, roll 3. Okay. I'm going to kill this. That works. So there's a problem in line 60, which I'll go and fix. Echo image shows images $row. So my pictures have come out. So it requires that quote inside around the field name. So anyway, we have ironed out the syntax error. So one thing is working. If I want a break tag after it, I can come here, add a break tag if I want. So I've got my break tag. Usually what I do, and all of you know my style, that I will start a div tag, echo div, so I can style it later. Okay, I will always start a div tag and I will also end it. You must have a semicolon. PHP is less forgiving than JavaScript. Okay, so that's the div tag. That's only if you want to then add a style to it, you know. If you have the div tag, then you can align it, center it, give it a background and so on. So I've got my picture, and what are the other things I need? I'll just use this whole thing because I did this and it should work. So once I run my query, I'm getting my name, my description, my price. Okay, my name, my description, my price. There. That's my roles. Now I need my specials here, right? I'm going to take this entire PHP code as it is, and you see where the specials are? I've got my specials here. I'm going to say select star from menu where food tab is equal to role and special equals 1. Now the query has changed, and you can see the same query I put on the right, modification, and the new thing comes. Now instead of having this in a separate column, you can trigger that query by menu. You know, when you guys do shopping on eBay, you can search various options, and that's what happens. The query gets changed. Every time you click, a new query is generated. So hopefully you understand the basic mechanics of how PHP integrates with a database, connects to a database, sends a query, gets a result and throws it onto your web page. Okay.